Hello, and welcome to another contronymical episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach. I have lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for over 6 years. And with me today is
Donald Weigel, and I am one of the hosts of this show. I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for like 7 years, and I have no idea what contronymical means.
I enjoy, you know what? If nothing, dear listeners, from off the bat, you get a word you haven't heard before, maybe used in a way like contronymical isn't actually a word. Contronym is a word.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So I always, anyway.
I'm not actually sure what contronym means either. I thought I had a pretty good vocabulary.
A contronym is a word that holds two opposing meanings.
Oh.
Like raise and raise, which is like you use a razor to raise your face.
Oh, yeah.
Or razor to raise things.
Raise a town.
Yeah. So, but
which isn't good. Like unless you're a pirate.
Yeah.
In which case, then you want to raise that town.
So the specific contronym that we are talking about today is stunt. That's not an exciting word. That's
stunt.
Not. Yeah, but actually stunt performers. Like I think about doing a stunt. Is there anything better? Like, do you dare me? Do you dare me to like go over this thing and like do something dangerous?
Totally.
So there's two meanings for stunt, Donald. We're going to talk about both of them for a moment. So a stunt performer, that's radadoodle. Everybody wants to do.
That's true.
A stunt is something that is dangerous, but also rewarding, which is exciting. It is an unusual or difficult feat requiring great skill or daring. Nothing is cooler than that,
no.
Right?
I mean, it's like when I was a kid, it's like Evel Knievel was like the coolest guy out there.
Right. So we'll talk more about Mr. Knievel a little bit later.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but no, I'm going to give you the contronym to stunt.
Okay, I'm ready.
So stunt, we know what. Oh, you're like, stunt, which also happens to be 5 points in Scrabble, which is a really boring fact.
Yeah,
and now you know it. Yeah.
Wait, contronym is 5 points in Scrabble?
No, stunt.
Stunt is 5 points in Scrabble.
Yeah. There's a Y in there. There's no way that's only 5 points.
You know I love playing Scrabble.
We do not like playing Scrabble. So the opposite of stunt is stunt. So, and it's spelled the same way. It also means to hinder normal growth, development, or progress.
Uh-oh.
And sometimes we do that to ourselves, don't we, Donald?
Yeah, we sure do. Which kind of stunt podcast is this?
Exactly. So we are going to, sometimes when we get in our own way, we stunt ourselves. But we also would love to have a stunt double. Wouldn't that be or just like stunt doubles doing rad tricks and parkour and kicking stuff? That's super fun.
Well, I certainly know when things get hard, it would be nice to have somebody else come in and like do the hard thing.
Right, but the stuntman, like the Fall Guy, was there anything cooler than the Fall Guy?
Yeah, no, we're talking about the 80s question mark or 70s question mark?
The time of the Heathers.
TV
if you know
show.
what Heathers are.
Yeah, there were multiple Heathers.
People named Heather. It was
Lee Majors.
Yep.
And speaking of doing your own stunts.
Howie Long?
Oh, was it Howie Long?
Okay, anyway, his name was Howie. It's fine. Let's keep going.
I don't remember. Speaking of doing your own stunts, Lee Majors sang the theme song for that show himself.
That is incredible information.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I knew that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like stunt people, they're cool. Everybody thinks they're cool. They made what was not cool, the remake of The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Recently came out.
Look, a lot of people loved it. I don't want to yuck anybody else's yum. But
you're gonna.
Catherine and I were not the biggest fans of that movie when I saw it. I was like excited to see it because a lot of people said it was great. But
I had high hopes. But I just found out there's an extended director's
cut.
I do not need more.
It's streaming right now. I'm like, can we get the cut that's shorter?
Exactly. But
we're gonna get so much hate mail from the Fall Guy lovers out there.
But like, when things get difficult, right? Like let's go back to like the acting thing and stunt doubles, right? Things get difficult. You've got an actor. You don't want to mess them up. They're worth a lot of money.
No, you don't want to mess them up.
You don't want them to jump out of things and
that's right.
Whatever. You want them to be safe.
Oh man, we messed up our actor.
I don't know.
What are we
You're the
gonna
one
do?
who works in
Why
the movie.
did we mess him up so much?
So I couldn't think of a better word.
I
Okay,
think you did fantastically.
Okay.
I love it.
So, so something difficult, something challenging comes along, whether it's jumping out of a building or playing piano. No, but
Right.
they actually do that. Like they
I
switch
know,
out the
I
hand.
know.
There's body doubles. There's stand-ins. There's lots of different reasons to have to someone stand in your place. But in the movie industry, they do it for efficiency. Donald, I'm movie splaining you. You've worked in the industry
Yes.
for 30 years.
I can't wait to hear
And
hear how this works and why.
Right. They use it for safety, expedience, and necessity for
Yeah.
talent. They're also, anyway, like sometimes, our friend Brian was a hand double on the show Lost. And I was
Oh, yeah.
very excited to see his
Oh, yeah.
hands. It was very cool. Yay, Brian.
That actually happens more than you might think. They will a lot of times forget to shoot the close-up shot. They call it an insert shot. Maybe I'm over-explaining, but like of the actual actor like holding a book or holding a watch or a glass or something, like the close-up, they sort of forget or they run out of time to shoot it, so they like shoot it on another day with somebody else's hands.
Right. So anyway, so there are lots of reasons to have stand-ins, but growing up in the 1980s, the 1900s, they were the 1900s,
The
not the 18s.
1890s, yes.
We grew up with like knowing about stand-ins and Fall Guys and like stuntmen and Evil Knievel. Like some people do their own stunts, which is cool, but they break a lot of bones doing that.
Yeah.
You don't want to break any bones. So maybe the stunt double needs a stunt double. I don't know. This goes on forever, like a Matryoshka doll.
I feel like I heard about Evil Knievel like jumping the Grand Canyon a lot, and then was a little disappointed when I found out it was like in a rocket sled, not like on his motorcycle.
Oh, I
thought
didn't
he was
know that.
like when I was a kid, I thought he was actually going to try and jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle. Which, if you know how big the Grand Canyon is,
Yeah.
that's
It's pretty far. When you're a kid, it's like as big as your bedroom.
like
It's not
Wile E. Coyote. You get like 30, 40 feet out and then just fall.
exactly. Did when the fawns jumped the shark?
Oh yeah.
Did he jump the shark, or I think they pulled back? They had someone else in a leather jacket.
Oh, I'm
and
sure
then-
it was the stunt person, but I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it could have been, but probably not.
Who knows? But before our podcast jumps the shark, we're going to keep this conversation going. But okay, so we've established stunt doubles are in there. We think it's super fun, and just like an actor, like your A-list actors, I don't know who they are, but they're A-list. Just like they make the big bucks and have all of the success, and the fall guy, the stunt person, is the unsung hero. We want to achieve our weight loss goals, I think. And this was for me for 40 years.
Yeah.
We want the praise, the accolades, the shark jumping, but we don't want to do the work.
Yeah,
Can't we just get
say we want to do it?
we just want like somebody to stand in for us to do the hard stuff. Wouldn't that be better?
Yeah, or another version of this is that I've known a lot of people in my life who say they want to be writers, but then they don't actually like write anything.
Right. It's like the idea of it is good.
They want to be writers, if someone is actively paying them to do it, but they're not going to like practice writing until that happens is basically what happens. So it's a very similar thing with weight loss. We say that we want, but then we don't actually want to put in the work that's going to take to make it happen.
Right. As soon as something gets difficult, like when it's easy, it's easy. When something's easy for us, we can't imagine someone else not being able to do it because it's easy peasy. But as soon as we hit a little bit of friction, maybe our plan goes sideways, we get interrupted by it with illness or twisting your ankle or too much work to do, then we give up. But today, there is no giving up, is there, Donald?
No,
No,
none at all.
There is no I in quit. We can't quit ourselves. We're still stuck with ourselves.
right.
So you can't go anywhere. So Donald, why would
There's no I in quit.
We actually
I
did an
know,
episode
I know.
called that.
We had an episode
okay?
called that.
So why would someone? And can you imagine it? What if you? Okay, listener, listen up. What if like you hit a hard situation? And then somebody called cut, and then like some other person who kind of looked like you did the hard stuff. And then as soon as that was over, you went back in. Like, how rad would that be if you didn't have to deal with any of the nonsense?
I know. I've always wanted like a clone of myself who could do the bits that I didn't want to do, like all the cleaning. and
I
all
know,
of
but then that
Like,
one- no.
why would they want to do it
then
any more than I do.
That one would be bitter also and get mad at you. So, Donald, why would people want stunt doubles for their weight loss?
Well, we've already touched on a lot of it, but we want the results and the glory without the effort. And it's very much like the Freaky Friday thing that we were talking about recently. You know, we want to just magically be in the other body, swap bodies with somebody else, but not do it. We also prioritize our comfort over our discomfort. We are afraid of trying and failing, which that was a big obstacle for me.
That's embarrassing.
I know. And like I would make these declarations like, hey, this time it's for real. I'm really going to do it. And then, you know, a couple weeks later, I was right back where I started. We don't want to make hard choices.
Yep.
We want someone else to do the hard stuff, which is obvious. We just want to get it over with without compromising our lifestyle.
That is I have totally seen that of like, I'm not going to change anything. What do I do? Like, what? I drink water, right? Like, that's going to be like, how many gallons do I need to lose weight?
I know. And I see it a lot on Reddit posts on the Calories In, Calories Out group and others where people basically say like, you know, I have tried everything I can possibly try. I just want what they're actually saying is I just want someone to tell me that it's okay to do nothing.
Yeah.
and not change because we are unwilling to compromise in order to prioritize our health goal.
No, absolutely. And I think the absolute biggest part of wanting a stand-in, a fall guy or gal, is that we have failed so many times that we just don't want to get hurt again. Like we have put ourselves out there. It hasn't worked. So why bother trying again? But as we've said before, we become the person we want to be by doing the things that person does. So I'm going to take you over to the production, the business side of the Fall Guy movie set right now. And we're going to go over to core competencies. Isn't that an exciting term for a weight loss podcast?
We talk about core competencies on movie and TV sets all the time.
So core competencies in the business world, the movie biz, all the business, is that the thing that you do at your essence that makes you unique, special, and really stand out in the crowd. And like, for example, a lawyer will loy, I guess, right? Is that what they do? They loy?
Yeah, they loy. That's what it means. They're a lawyer.
Right. But they're not producing their best work when they're filing or making Xerox copies of things, right? Like they get someone else to do that so that they can focus on the big work. No one else can loy on their behalf. They have to do it themselves.
Lawyers gotta loy.
Lawyers gotta loy. So again, a core competency is a unique element that cannot be replicated or transmitted to someone else. And in our health and wellness goals, in our lives, there are core elements that we can outsource, give to other people, farm out, have someone else do them for us. But then there are things that we cannot outsource to someone else. So Donald, why don't you tell us about some things that can be outsourced? Someone else can do this. It's not necessary.
Yeah, like you don't have to do all of these things yourself when it comes to your health and fitness. You can outsource your food prep. You can outsource the purchase of gym equipment by going to a gym, by paying somebody else to buy that gym equipment. You can hire a coach to support you. You can find mentors or podcasts or books. You can...
I wrote this list and I put in a couple of... Okay, what did I put, Donald?
Churning butter.
Churning butter. You don't have to do that yourself. It doesn't make you better than me.
You can outsource churning butter.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I should have read this list more closely before I started reading it. Following a plan reduces decision.
Right. So if you followed Weight Watchers or if you followed calorie tracking, then you don't have to come up with it. It's already it's set in stone. You just follow the plan.
So if, in other words, you outsource the coming up with a plan. Now, I'm going to go off on a quick tangent. Catherine and I have said a lot. The best plan probably doesn't have a name. It's probably the one that you create yourself, but you can outsource it and follow somebody else's plan. You can outsource your grocery shopping. You could have it delivered. You can outsource your meal prep. You can outsource things that are taking your time, like Uber drivers, housekeepers, window washers, hairdressers, metalsmiths.
I included metalsmiths. Why not? They're the unsung heroes.
I mean,
my brother is a metalsmith.
Yeah, you're smithing metal. If your time is being all taken up by all of your metalsmithing duties.
But it gets back to that whole thing of like, oh, but you don't prep your own food. Oh, you don't like turn your own butter. You mean you buy clothing and you don't sew everything yourself? Like at some point we outsource parts of our lives. You know what? I'm not apologizing for not having to come up with the like civil engineering grid for Los Angeles.
Right.
I'm soupsy doopsy happy to give them money to keep that going because I don't know how to do it and I don't want to know how to do it.
Like, or if society relied on me to figure out how to create textiles,
no.
There is no way
we just be wearing coconut shells over things.
I have zero like idea of how you take like a cotton growing in a field and then turn it into a like piece of cloth that I'm wearing. Like that's not something I'm doing.
Exactly. So, but there are things that we have to do ourselves. Literally no one else can do it for us. And this is where our focus is now. So no one else can eat for us. There's unless you're a mama bird chewing food for a baby bird, you can't.
You could outsource the chewing part, maybe.
Gross. Oh my God. Okay. Gross. Okay, let's go. Okay, so you can't outsource doing the actual exercise. You can't outsource your thoughts to someone else.
Yeah.
You can't have someone else change your perspective. You've got to do that for you. You've got to track the butter. Like you could eat the butter, but if you don't track the butter, I put in the butter. And so now this is the antonym to that.
Right.
So you can't outsource sleeping, drinking, eating, moving your body. You can't outsource your mindset, hard choices. You can't outsource your boundaries, time management, brushing your teeth, or taking responsibility for yourself. We are grown-ups. And the biggest thing that we can't outsource is building trust in ourselves. So often we lie to ourselves or we have a record of making promises to ourselves that we don't keep.
Yeah.
That we don't actually believe ourselves. Like, right. Oh yeah, I'm going to work out every single day for a month. Sure, Jan. Like that's not going to happen. And when we keep setting ourselves up for failure by over-promising and under-delivering, using all of those loopholes that we've talked about in the past about making exceptions and just this once and it doesn't count. When we lie to ourselves, we don't trust ourselves. And that's where things break down. That's where the quitting comes because we don't trust ourselves.
Well, and I had done that so many times. I had set goals that I didn't hit. I had made plans that I didn't hit. That when I started doing this and I got the Fitbit app and it asked me to put in a goal weight, I've told the story before, but I laughed at myself as I was doing it, and I put that I was going to lose 70 pounds. And I thought to myself as I was doing it, that will never happen, but I'm going to put it in there and we'll see. And then not only did I lose the 70, but I lost more than the 70 and went past it. So I built up the trust in myself as we were going. But to get back to the stunt person part of this, we see actors like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is famous for doing his own stunts. He did a lot of his own flying in the Mission Impossible movies and a lot of the stunts in the new Top Gun movie, which also Catherine and I were the only people who seem to not like.
He does his own marriages.
Yeah.
He does that.
Whoa.
Well, I'm going there.
Whoa, we are crossing that line.
But he learned how to fly a helicopter and taught a helicopter company how to do like a dead roll in the Swiss Alps or something. Like he's bananas.
I know, but we look at people like him and he's a statistical outlier and we sort of say to ourselves, why can't we do that? And we do the same thing when it comes to fit thin people. And Look, I think this might, with some people, be controversial, but I believe it to be true. There are some people who are just naturally thin and fit, and they might put in work that we're not aware of. But I know that there are people who don't work that hard at it and manage to somehow do it, and we have a tendency to compare ourselves to those people, or we have a tendency to compare ourselves to people who have really been practicing and putting in the work for years and years and are so far ahead of us that we feel like we'll never catch up.
Right. I mean, and I think that is a big thing. It's comparing ourselves to people who are either outliers or beyond. Like, they're not inspirations. They're kind of demotivators because, like, well, they're so far ahead, I shouldn't even bother doing it myself. But the thing with stunt people, Donald,
what is the thing with them?
They aren't magically born jumping off cliffs. Like,
not.
You're not just born jumping off cliffs. They start small. I actually read an article about like how to get into the stunt industry, and they actually suggest starting small. Like, don't just go break your neck and think you're going to get hired because you're a daredevil.
Right.
You start small. You start with protection and padding and backup, and like, I mean, gymnasts, they're not like, all right, here comes Simone Biles on the cement floor. Let's see what happens. Like, it's all padded.
Right.
Come on, cement floor gymnastics.
Cement floor gymnastics. That's the real Olympics.
Cement, everything cement floor, all of it. It's just cement floor.
These gymnasts with their padding and their safety.
Yeah, ooh, sand volleyball, boo hoo.
Yeah.
Like, let's, maybe
Let's do
a
this
floor
on
of
asphalt.
spikes. A floor of spikes.
Spikes, so that's even better.
Exactly. So stunt people start small and they build up their craft over time. Are you seeing a theme, everybody? Here it comes.
I'm seeing one.
So you become your own stunt person by starting small and doing what the stunt folk do. And that comes into another fun word, or super, I guess it's two words in one, like it goes together. Hyphenated. That's what it's called. Hyphenated. Okay. The idea of self-efficacy.
Yeah.
That is the ability to exercise control over what you do. It's about trusting yourself and believing that you can get the thing done that you say you're going to get done. Not going, oh yeah, sure, ha ha ha, I've got a goal, I'm not going to do it. Like, you're not out to sabotage yourself or setting these giant goals that you have no intention of hitting, but you're actually building trust in yourself. And you build trust by starting small. So a friend of the show, Dana, hello Dana, thank you. She sent an article to me about like building resilience, and I think we've talked about resilience before, but she sent me this article on self-efficacy, and they talk about building self-trust through, they call it mastery experiences, but it's sort of about like practicing small behaviors is sort of what it actually means. So when you practice getting competent at something, it boosts feelings of agency and confidence. Like, you do something small, you do it well, and you're like, hey, I just did the thing. Like, it's not that bad. I can do it. But it ripples into other areas of our life. Once we gain confidence in one thing, we can build it into another and in another. So it ripples into other areas of our life. And when we become people who say, hey, I did this one hard thing, I bet I can do this other hard thing, that's where growth comes in. And it's so important to not just say like, well, yeah, I could do that, but there's no way I could do this. It then becomes like, well, how could I use the skills that I used in this other hard thing into this new thing that I want to do?
Well, and I think it also is similar to the idea of celebration in tiny habits, and, even celebrating the smallest goal and really meaning it and taking that in and realizing that you are capable of achieving something. It makes you want to move on and achieve something else.
Exactly.
And it's not about convincing yourself with affirmations. It's about achieving small goals. And by seeing yourself achieve the goals, you start to identify as someone who can achieve your goals.
You do the things you do, but it's about the small things. And then you build up momentum. Tiny habits in itself, is what I am a coach, and I am doing it right now. Coaching
You're certified,
all of you.
yeah.
I am certified. Is tiny habits are starter steps to building bigger habits. It's not, I've got 40 million tiny habits. It's about just building that momentum, because then you don't need the motivation. You don't need the grit when you're starting small, because it's so small, you can't help but do it and succeed. And then you cheer and then you believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
So, and this part just sort of circles back to why we wanted stunt people in the first place. So in the past, and Donald and I did this for 40 years, we set ourselves up for failure by setting the bar or the standard too high.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we fail at something that we couldn't have possibly done,
right,
we confuse failure with not having what it takes.
Yeah.
We quit because it's just not meant for us. And if we think we don't have what it takes, well, then we quit. Like, of course, I'm not going to do that. That's foolish. But what if we just started smaller? What if, how much time could we have saved if we had just started smaller instead of quitting ourselves up the scale? The first time I did Weight Watchers and failed, I was at 200 pounds. The last time I was at 300 pounds because I revenge quit over and over and over again. So we're going to give you sort of examples of, and think about this for yourself and how it applies to you. We're going to give you examples of some standards or expectations that might be too high, where we would have quit in the past. And then we're going to contrast them with kind of that stunt double growth mindset. How can I make this work kind of person that we know is inside of you right now. So here we go.
Yeah. And so, part of the idea behind this is that the best plan is the one that you can actually stick to and get yourself to do. So, for example, you might start Weight Watchers, which I did multiple times, and they give you 28 points, or in order to be, on the plan, you get 28 points, and you're hungry all the time, and so you quit.
Right. Which I did literally 20 times. But what would have happened if I had just, and this is where the stunt double comes in, what if I had just increased my points to 40 points a day and see if I could actually stick with it? It never even occurred to me. If I didn't comply, I wasn't right. But what would have happened if I had just increased my point target?
And, similarly, a number that gets thrown around a lot is 1,200 calories. In order to lose weight, you drop down to 1,200 calories. I know for me personally, 1,200 calories is borderline starvation. There's virtually no way I can stick to that. So I try 1,200 calories a day, and I, would eventually just, binge eat because I was so starved or something, and then I would quit.
Well, and I saw the other day someone posted how they were starving at their calorie target, and they didn't know what to do. And luckily, the people in the group commented hey, friend, what? Maybe eat more. You can eat more. It's okay. I think you could probably eat more and actually stick with it rather than being starving all the time and then revenge eating about it. So,
yeah.
Right. So instead of trying to adhere to 1,200 calories, try 2,000. See how that goes. I mean, there's more about calories, but just increase it with the points. See how that goes.
And then in terms of exercise, you promise yourself that you're going to work out at least 30 minutes a day, or you're going to go to the gym a certain amount of days, 6 days a week or something like that. And then it just becomes too hard, or you miss a day because, you have people come to town or something, and then you just quit.
Right. So the opposite of that is, hey, what kind of 5 minutes could I get in today to get that done? That's a great place to start.
Yeah. Or you promise yourself you're going to meal prep every single Sunday. You're going to get all of your lunches and dinners ready in the fridge, ready to go. So you just have to take out the containers and heat and eat. And you maybe can do that for a couple of Sundays.
Oh my gosh.
And then you skip a Sunday and suddenly your week is shot, and so you quit.
Oh my gosh. I did that over and over again. And I thought I didn't have the right mason jars. I didn't have the right discipline. I didn't have the whatever. But a stunt double, sort of a growth mindset person, would just pivot and go, you know what? Some weeks are going to be great for meal prep. I'm going to have the time and the energy. And on the times that I don't, I'll pivot and adapt, and I've got frozen meals, and I'm outsourcing the chopping of the salad.
Right.
And you can be both things. You can have weeks where you're, at your peak and you're doing everything right. But then on the times where you're not able to give 100%, you can just do something else. It doesn't have to be this austere program that you're on.
Or you'll go on a diet where you'll swear that you'll never have sugar again.
Oh
like,
gosh.
That's it. This is it. I'm done with sugar. I'll never do it. And maybe you can do that for a while. And then you're at a birthday party and there's cake there. And suddenly you are face first into a cake in front of all of the people that are there because you just can't resist any longer.
Right. And so you quit and then you gain, which is totally what I did. But in this growth mindset, we only look thin world. What do? We plan for sweet treats. We pair them with special events. We have policies and standards in place saying, you know what? Sweets are in my life. I enjoy sweets, but you know what? They're an after dinner treat, not grab a handful of candy every time I pass the candy dish in the lobby of the office. So putting some standards and policies in place helps protect us from ourselves. Like there's no decision fatigue. Oh, nope, I just wait until after dinner. And then I'm still enjoying it, but I don't have to have it. So there you go, pivot.
Or another thing that I'm guilty of having done in the past, and I know Catherine too, is you say yes to anything anyone asks you to do, to join a committee, to help them move, to help them clean out something, to support your kids' school. And you just say yes, or even social events.
Yeah.
Like you can't say no to going out on a work night or a school night or something. And so you just keep doing that and you just have no time for yourself. And you're constantly in situations where you're setting yourself up to indulge in food or to quickly have to grab fast food because you've just left yourself no other options. And then you quit.
Yeah, and you feel resentful too because I'm overcommitted. I mean, that was my whole life. I'm overcommitted. Nobody appreciates me, so I'm going to eat about it. That is the reward that I get. But on the other side of that, the stunt double, the person who has grit, they start setting some boundaries. They don't say yes to everything. They give themselves some space to think about things, think about their needs, and then they reply to requests. And you have a lot more power in a position where you're not just giving everything you have to other people. So that's what someone who is a stunt double does.
Or you're at home or at work and you are constantly in situations where you are tempted by treats at the office or the kitchen or wherever you happen to be. And the temptation becomes too much for you and you give in and then you quit.
Right. Or you listen to our episode called 365 Surprises, where we talk about how to manage every single day that there's some surprise treat in the office, at home. If every day is a shocking, surprising, who knew that was going to happen?
Right.
Then you have poor boundaries around food choices. Taco Tuesday happens 52 times a year.
That's right.
Like, stop.
There is a Tuesday coming next week also.
Right. It is coming at us. And if we act surprised every time, like, there's no surprise. Nothing is surprising. Maybe we don't know the ingredients of the taco, but we know Taco Tuesday is coming and we can prepare ourselves. Just like the A-Team. The
Right.
A-Team, nobody got killed. It was just super fun work, but they knew danger was coming, so they welded things. They turned school buses into tanks.
They sure did.
They did lots of stuff. Nobody got hurt. It was super fun.
Everyone always, they showed somebody, crawling out okay of every sort of crash. There was one, even as a seventh grader, I rolled my eyes because this helicopter crashed into the side of a mountain and then crashed to the ground. And then the two villains that were in it crawled out safely.
Shake their fist.
Yeah.
But when we adapt and pivot and look for solutions, we're not giving up. Just imagine me, 2015. That's all you need to look at in the dictionary is me in 2015, just giving up time and time again and feeling like there was no hope. But the hope was inside me all along.
It sure was.
Because I was my very own stunt.
Along with the magic hubcap.
Double.
Yeah.
So we build up tolerance to discomfort and to challenges over time. I know it can feel kind of inspiring, like that lightning bolt moment when suddenly you have all of this energy and motivation and you want to come in really hot and get all the things done and you promise you're going to just like, it's never going to end. Suddenly you're at like level 10 nonstop for the rest of your life until you lose weight and then you'll be fine. But we all know that motivation disappears. It is unreliable. It might like get us that extra boost from time to time, but it is not what we use in order to manage our weight loss goals. And when we invite ourselves to start smaller, we build self-trust. So as we're sort of finishing this up, like, haha, Fall Guy, let's talk about Fall Guys, is we need to build up a tolerance, or we have an opportunity to build a tolerance for discomfort. Instead of just rage quitting the second something doesn't go your way or when it's feeling difficult, we can pause. And I'm inviting you to do this. When you feel overwhelmed or like it's too much, ask yourself, how can I make this easier? What am I overthinking? How can I make this smaller? Right? In so many instances, we're just trying to push ourselves too hard. And I'm not saying that like it doesn't take grit and determination and stuff, but instead of quitting, oh no, I can't stick to 28 points. What can I do?
Yeah.
What could I do differently? Same thing. Oh, I thought I would lose weight this week and I didn't. So, okay. Why don't I push through this discomfort and disappointment and just go another week and see what happens? Like when we start building a tolerance for a little bit of discomfort and disappointment, we start trusting ourselves. Like we can do this through the good times and maybe the more difficult times. If we only show up on the best days, like that's not where heroes are born. Like you don't just show up when the circumstances are perfect. Showing up when it takes a little bit of extra energy makes us the people that we want to be. So when you feel tempted to quit, remind yourself that you are your own stunt double. Like just imagine, I don't like, oh, well, my snacky Sally version of myself. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you feel yourself wanting to quit, to give up, like pause for a second and just go like, okay, like the director calls, what do they call when they stop at the scene? Cut. Okay. So a director calls cut. Your own stunt double comes in and you're like, all right, this is the time where I shine. Like, this is where I have the tools and the experience and like all of the different skill sets that I've built over time to face this challenge. So this is the situation where you step in and show determination and grit and use your mindset and like your habit toolbox, whatever, like, your bag of tricks to get the job done. Like we have done, what is this, Donald? 300 and, is this our?
This is 351.
351 episodes of ideas. Like there is so much that you can do to advocate for yourself, to pull back a little bit, make things a little bit easier on yourself so that you don't quit. Because really there is no I in quit. Like you are going to be with you for the rest of your life. So why not be your own hero? If we can do it, you can do it too.
Absolutely. You are definitely capable of being your own hero, and you're also my hero for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you would like to be even more heroic and listen to a whole lot more episodes, the most recent 300 are all available on all of the major podcast platforms. Plus, you can go back and listen from episode number 1. I was going to say numero uno for some reason. All the way back there on YouTube and on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, click on that link for join our support group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. Come with your weight loss plan. Come with Weight Watchers, with intermittent fasting, with calorie tracking, but stay for the accountability and the fellowship and just whatever plan you're doing, you are welcome. But it's really a place for mindset work and showing up for yourselves, good day and bad, that. And if Facebook isn't really your super duper jam, I do weekly Zoom meetings, hour-long, sometimes longer than that, Zoom meetings for Wolt Place members where we dive deep into topics like this and really work things out. So if Facebook isn't really your jam, like you are totally missing out. Like it is different content than our podcast. You are missing out if you are not joining Wolt Place. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
Yeah, and it's also not that difficult to create an account, a Facebook account that is just for Wolt Place, and you can then bookmark Wolt Place, and you don't have to engage in anything else on Facebook. And the Zooms that you do are so wonderful and amazing. And a lot of people get borderline one-on-one coaching from you through that. It's completely worth it. So please check it out. I mean, I know I'm biased, but I think it's pretty fantastic. Also, if you want to interact with us in other ways, you can do so on the social medias like we were just talking about. We are at We Only Look Thin on Facebook and Instagram. Or you could send us an email to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. If you have a question, if you have an episode suggestion, if you just want to say hello, give us a compliment, you can do all of that there. weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yeah, and also for the Gmail account, we are super duper busy people. We are writing podcasts, we're recording, we're editing, we have full-time jobs. We are really busy, and we will try to get back to you just as soon as we can on email. I know sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but or if it's been a year and you haven't heard from us, maybe email it again. Maybe it got lost in the shuffle, but we really do appreciate every kind word. So thank you so much for reaching out to us. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. I feel like I should go beep and then issue a message. But anyway, right. If you do have a couple of extra minutes, could you head on over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review? Not only does it let us know that what we are doing for how many years? 6 years now?
Yeah,
almost 6 years,
6.5, almost 7.
Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Not only does it let us know that what we're doing week after week is making a difference in your lives, but it also boosts our ratings when people are looking for healthy, super duper fun, funny, good looking podcasts like ours.
Yeah, that really is one of the best ways you can support the show, and it only takes a second to give us 5 stars and then move on with your day. Also, if you could spread the love by word of mouth. If you know somebody who would get something out of our show and you could give us a recommendation, we would really appreciate that. Or if you are on the internet, if you are in a Discord server or a Facebook group or a Reddit group and it is appropriate to give us a shout out, it would really help us out. It really is one of the best ways to help the show grow.
Yep.
So if you are the president of the Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling Fall Guy fan club, and you've spent most of this episode composing an essay as to why Catherine and I are wrong about the movie, why not instead just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration.
And we do our own stunts.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.